Are you ready for a show that talks sports from the fans' point of view?
We've seen Michael Jordan score 37 points a game in his era. How many could he score in today's NBA?
There's not a player out there who I'd rather have than LeBron James.
Are you ready for a show that isn't afraid to challenge anyone when it comes to sports? If Adam Silver really wanted to fix tanking in the NBA, he would stop rewarding teams by giving them the best chance to win the draft lottery.
I mean, how many times will Roger Goodell drop the ball on handling domestic violence in the NFL?
Look, athletes have every right to talk politics, but if the fans stop tuning in, that's their right.
Then you're ready for Talk Back, a podcast where two fans debate the media narrative and discuss the world of sports as we see it.
Welcome to the show.
It's time for another edition of Talk Back. I'm your MC, Eric Nesbit. With me is your Director of Content, Justin Gay. Justin, we sit here on an historic night. President Trump has been impeached on apparently 2 articles of impeachment. And as the House of Representatives continues to waste years and years of our taxpayer dollars going through this circus, we'll sit here and talk about something that's a lot more enjoyable, the NFL. That's right. We've got Drew Brees setting the world on fire this past Monday night, and it opens up a broader conversation about the pantheon of NFL quarterbacks. Then we've got to talk about the Patriots. Are they involved once again in a scandal? And finally, if you are headed to the NFL playoffs, what is the one team in the AFC and the other team in the NFC that you would rather not face come wildcard weekend? We've got all that ahead on episode 313 of Talk Back.
Well, it wouldn't be a complete season in the NFL if we didn't get to talk about a Patriots controversy, right, Eric? So, of course, now we have Spygate 2.0, and we didn't get to record last week, but probably a good thing because we actually got to sort of let this story play out. This past Sunday, Jake Glazer had the video of the video, which showed the Do Your Job video team videoing the Bengals sideline. I'm not sure how advanced scouting works with that, but 8 minutes of that, Bengals security not too thrilled, and the dialogue pretty damning, Eric, I think, for the Patriots and the video team of just, I can delete it, and this will be like it never happened. So, Eric, the Patriots now have been the model franchise, not just in the NFL, but really in the 4 major sports. Outside the San Antonio Spurs, there's not really a franchise that just has the consistent level of high performance that the Patriots have. But we also haven't seen a franchise that gets themselves involved in seemingly a scandal every single year or every other year, or at least when they're caught, the way the Patriots have. So as fans, how do we balance what we've seen from the Patriots, all the Super Bowl rings, the appearances, all the AFC titles and title games over this span since Brady and Belichick have been in New England, versus what we've seen with all these scandals? How do we make heads and tails of this? Or don't ask Dak Prescott that, I should say.
He defers. He thinks.
No, you don't get to defer on this one. You got to answer it.
I'd be happy to answer this because it actually is ironic to me that this whole thing is called Do Your Job, because I'm pretty convinced that there are people within the Patriots organization hired by Robert Kraft and most likely Bill Belichick to do their job in a way that's considered cheating. I mean, I think that is part of people's jobs in the New England Patriots. And yeah, I know I'm a Jets homer, so I'm going to have some bias on this, of course. But let's look at this. I mean, and funny that even though it's not a cheating scandal or anything like that, the Patriots' woes really started with the whole tuck rule back in 2003 when they beat the Raiders in the snow. And that was, in essence, the start of Brady's career with Bill Belichick making this dynastic run. And so, like I said, even though that wasn't a rule broken or a scandal per se, it's kind of funny to me that whole dynasty started with that, because you go through and you have 2007 Spygate, that clearly was a situation where the Jets and the Patriots had a situation going on, and Eric Mangini, he spotted that. And of course, he was on the Patriots staff before that. So more than likely he knew even that, those types of things were going on, and gave the Jets an opportunity to watch out for some of that stuff. Then you get into 2014 where you have falsified injury reports. 2 players from the Patriots had come out, Brandon Spikes and Aqib Talib, and said after they were gone from the organization that, yeah, we didn't even have the injuries that they said we had, or they didn't say we had injuries that we did have. So there's history of that going on, just misgiven information. Then in 2014, you had Deflategate, which that was a whole mess. And in fact, that 2014 playoff run was marred with a couple of things. Again, it wasn't necessarily cheating, but Bill Belichick is really good at loopholes. He had that whole goofy formation that happened against the Ravens that left John Harbaugh completely mystified in that game. And then you get to, of course, there's all of these rumors. 2015, the whole radio scramble game where the Steelers claim that their radios stopped working during the game. They were getting scrambled signals. But anyway, Justin, you get to 2019, Spygate 2. I mean, I'm mixed on this. I think it's just one of those things where it's more intel than team specific. You'd have a hard time convincing me that they had a plan in place months ahead to beat the Bengals, who were at that, going to be 1 win in this season. Like, that's not really the team that you need to do this on. Either way, though, it's just nefarious. And I think to your broader point and what you're really getting at is, if you look at that list that I just gave and you look at all of these things, whether they're true crimes or whether they're allegations or whether they're rumors, and there's more than what I listed, that since 2003, this team has been just involved in so many questionable things that it leads you to wonder, is Tom Brady really the GOAT, or is he the beneficiary of a fantastic coach who finds loopholes and finds every way to win, and the two of them together make it happen? I don't know, Justin. I think you will find a lot of people when it comes to, I don't want to say Hall of Fame voting time, because I don't think it's a Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds. Will they get in? Will they not? I think Tom Brady's a first round lock, but is there an asterisk in some way, shape, or form on his legacy with the Patriots, and certainly Bill Belichick's legacy with the Patriots? You'd be hard pressed not to think that.
Yeah, I'll start with Belichick and the Patriots. I think at this point you have to be starting to write the asterisk by what they've done, because it's so much more than any other team has been involved with. You have the Saints that had Bountygate. You had the Falcons, I think, got hit with a fine for piping in noise. You had the Browns that had that staph infection thing run through their own team. I don't know if that was self-sabotage for some kind of a tanking issue or just stupidity. And judging by the way the Browns run their franchise, probably the latter there. But nobody else has the laundry list that the Patriots do. And you didn't even add in the fact that they're accused by both the Rams and the Panthers front office of taping walkthroughs during the Super Bowl. Times. And some Rams players are adamant that those kind of things happen. So
my Eagles ran a fake walkthrough in 2017 just to make sure that they didn't have, you're right, videographers.
And you've got Peyton Manning talking about, or Tony Dungy talking about how Peyton Manning would never have a conversation in the locker room at Gillette. They thought the stadium was bugged. You talked about the headset issues. There's rumors that they would send team personnel to the visiting team's hotel to go through the rooms to see if they could find a playbook before the iPad era came in. So there's just so much with this team.
Remember the fire alarm? Remember the fire alarm?
Yeah, you start to wonder, Eric, this is just what they've got caught on. What else is out there? I feel like this is a story that 5-10 years down the road, there's going to be some gigantic ESPN piece that comes out that's going to be 3 or 4 of the writers. It's going to be well sourced, and it's going to be just documented some kind of enormous scheme that they had going on, because there's just too much smoke at this point. I mean, there actually is fire. I mean, they got caught red-handed, and the first time it was one of their own who in Mangini, who had gone to the Jets, who actually called them and said, "Don't do it to me.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys do, don't do it to me." And they did it anyways, and they got caught. It just starts to make you wonder, Eric. I think back to Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. Jimmy Johnson, dominant driver, 7 titles. Chad Knaus was always on the edge. He would get caught cheating, get the fines. And then the video came out of him telling Jimmy Johnson at Talladega a few years ago, if you win, make sure you wreck the car when you're doing the burnout.
Yeah, tear it up.
And he hasn't, and Jimmy Johnson was never the same driver since, and Chad Knaus hasn't been the same crew chief since. And you start to wonder with this Patriots team, is the level of domination that they've had due to their greatness in terms of how they're able to coach and scheme, or is it due to some kind of scandal on the back end? Because no other franchise has had this level of success over this period of time that they've had. And they are the only ones that have this type of list of just scandals and multiple kinds of scandals, Eric. Some of the things that you mentioned is just them outsmarting teams. But just when you think about the way the NFL is set up, that really they want parity through this league. You have the hardened cap. It's not like baseball or the NBA where you have these luxury taxes and kind of the rich can just buy their way into titles. You're on a hardened cap. So everybody's supposed to be at parity level. If what the Patriots are doing, even let's say get them off the field on 3 third downs, or they keep a team from getting 7 and instead get them 3 because they know something that they're going to run on a third down situation that they have a signal for, something that they've gotten illegal. Those give them a competitive advantage. Yeah. And then you spin it forward to, okay, so right now, I don't believe any of this stuff is sticking to Brady, because it seems like there's such a hatred for Goodell that even Deflategate really doesn't stick to Brady. It sticks more to the Patriots and Belichick. And then even after what Kraft was involved in last year, you have to start looking at that guy going, well, if he's willing as a billionaire to drive a Bentley to a $60 rub and tug before an AFC championship game, what else is he willing to do for wins? And you kind of think in your mind, like you said, like maybe there's something here. Now you've got Belichick that's got his family involved in the organization. So you have even a tighter net that's going on. So I think, Eric, at this point, there's something going on. McDaniels, when he left, went to Denver, he got caught in London trying to do the same kind of stuff, filming walkthroughs, and that eventually led to him getting booted out of Denver. So there is something going on with this team. It's just, what else is there? What else don't we know that's going to come out? And then to the broader question that you ask, if something else does come out down the road, 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 5, whatever it is, and it's pretty damning to this franchise, and it is a clear-cut path that this team was involved in high-level cheating, and that led to a lot of their success. Right now, Eric, as you said, Brady is the GOAT. I don't think there's anybody that can even argue that. But if something else comes out that there's more than this, is that going to stick to Brady, and will that affect his status as the GOAT?
I think it could. And I think one of the things that's interesting about it is if you look at, let's go back to that example I had with Major League Baseball, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire. There's really no quantitative way to measure how many home runs more they hit as a result of steroids in baseball, Sammy Sosa included and others. There's no way to actually say, okay, it's worth 8 home runs more. It's worth 10 home runs more. It's definitely worth more. We can clearly see that now based on the metrics, but we don't know exactly how many more or how many less he would have hit if he hadn't had it, in other words. So I think the thing about the Patriots is going to be interesting as history gets written is that we're not going to know exactly. And you actually said it in a way that made a lot of sense to me, which is even if it means getting off the field, the defense off the field on third down a couple extra times a game, even if it means stopping a 2-point conversion or stopping a certain play at the goal line or whatever and turning 7 points into 3 points. Those are big game changers that it doesn't have to be this raw, you cheated the whole way, but you cheated at little bits and moments that helped you gain an advantage. And so the way you said that really made sense to me. And I thought the same thing about baseball. Do we know how many more home runs those guys hit because of it? No, but did it give them an advantage in spots that allowed them to hit extra? And I think the answer is yes. And so to me, doubt is such a big part of this, because whether or not we're ever able to quantify the difference in the legacy of Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and the Patriots from, let's say, 2002 when Bledsoe gets injured, 2003 and onward, we might never know that. But you're right. There could be a 30 for 30 written on this someday where it's actually 30 instances of them cheating. No, but a story where it's like, okay, now we've entered enough doubt into this situation that there must be, absolutely must be, an asterisk by this period of time for the New England franchise. And I think you're right. I think